Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar today. Our topic is account-based marketing, engaging your high-potential B2B prospects. Thanks for joining. I'd like to introduce our speaker today, Erin Naismith. Erin is Vice President, Digital and Media Strategy Director at Eric Mower & Associates. EMA is a digitally integrated independent marketing and public relations agency. We have 210 professionals in 5 states across 9 offices. Those offices are in Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany, New York, and New York City. And we have offices in Cincinnati, Charlotte, Boston, and Atlanta. EMA delivers strategic insights, digital solutions, smart creative, and award-winning results to clients. The agency also has a deep focus in B2B marketing. Erin is our lead digital strategist, working with clients to identify opportunities in the paid, earned, and owned media space to build affection, relevance, and trust for their clients' brands and with their target customers. Please use the Q&A module, which should be on your screen to the left, to ask questions. Erin will address those at the end of the presentation. Good afternoon, Erin.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today. Thank you very much for spending part of your day with us. I'm going to spend our time together addressing a trending discipline in B2B marketing that's actually been around for a while, but has had new life breathed into it in recent years with advancements in marketing and advertising technology, and that's account-based marketing. And specifically today, we'll talk about how to leverage account-based marketing to build affection, relevance, and trust, and engage your high-potential prospects and customers. The presentation will run about 20 minutes, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. So let's get started. Before we get into the specifics on account-based marketing, I want to highlight a couple of B2B marketplace trends that I believe account-based marketing can address. And some of these might resonate with some folks on the phone today. The first is focusing on customer experience. Like account-based marketing, customer experience, or CX, is a really hot topic in the industry right now. And we'll talk a little bit about how ABM is a great tool for growing existing customer business and enhancing those customer relationships. The second trend that's relevant to our discussion today is marketing to individuals and the notion of micro-targeting. Data and technology have really enabled us to get incredibly targeted with our digital marketing outreach as well as our messaging strategies. And ABM provides a really great strategic framework to leverage that data and technology to market to companies as if they're individuals. And the third trend is around getting more human in our marketing communications. Mass targeting is falling out of fashion in a lot of ways, especially as it relates to content and messaging. And the advancements that we're going to talk about today in leveraging data and technology are enabling us to customize and tailor the marketing conversation to that individual in a manner that's more personalized and personal, and something else that ABM can deliver on. We'll talk more about that. So let's start off today by defining what ABM, or account-based marketing, is. Stealing from my good friends at Wikipedia, account-based marketing is defined as a strategic approach to B2B marketing in which an organization targets and markets to specific accounts as markets of one. So what does that mean? Well, instead of marketing to a target demographic population, such as Fortune 500 CEOs, for example, or a vertical market like manufacturing or healthcare, you're targeting very specific companies, and moreover, specific stakeholders and individuals inside those companies. And I think that's something to make special note of, okay? So there's a lot of content about account-based marketing out there right now that focuses on how best to reach the target companies as a whole, but we also need to consider how we're reaching and influencing the individuals inside these organizations at a persona level. And what are the strategies that take things down to that individual persona and that individual more personalized level? Let's talk a little bit about the emergence of account-based marketing and the investment B2B marketers are making in this approach. A recent Serious Decisions research study indicated that more than 90% of B2B respondents acknowledge account-based marketing as either important or very important to their marketing strategies. And another study cited that more than 60% of B2B marketers surveyed said they plan to implement an account-based marketing program within the next year. So it's something that's really critically important, but it's also something that folks are really acting upon in the short term. And why are they doing that? Well, it works. According to Altera Group and Marketo, 97% of B2B marketers believe that account-based marketing had a somewhat higher or much higher ROI than other marketing initiatives. 84% of B2B marketers say that ABM provides significant benefits to retaining and expanding existing customer relationships, and 65% of those marketers say that ABM provides significant benefits to attracting new customers. So you can really take a two-pronged approach with your ABM program and target not only your existing customers, but prospects as well. So how do we tap into some of that great success for ourselves? And what types of situations is account-based marketing most useful as a marketing strategy? What are those applications that are right for us? Well, here are a few of those potential scenarios, and we'll take a deeper dive into each. The first is all about reaching top prospects. And how do you identify who your top prospects are and then market to them through an ABM strategy? Well, through data mining and customer matching, you can start to hone in on a sweet spot for your product or service in terms of a targeted company or account list and building out who those companies are that you want to include in your program. We've assisted clients with this in the past by profiling the ideal target customer organization based on a variety of criteria. It could be size, it could be the right geography, they might have the right infrastructure, or they might have the right business initiatives in place or planned that our particular B2B clients have a good fit for. Or they might be a really good fit with your brand's products or services. They could even be potential competitors or lookalike companies. But once you've sort of honed in from a data mining perspective on who that ideal prospect is, you complete that analysis and you can build that information to cultivate a list of similar companies that you can target your account-based marketing strategy around. So identify who that ideal customer mix looks like, hone in on an example of what that company is, and then build out an additional list of lookalike companies that could round out your top 10, your top 20, your top 50. Another potential scenario and a great application for account-based marketing is if your sales or biz dev team has identified a list of accounts that they want to go after right from the start. It could be an existing top 20, top 50, top 100 list, etc. And as marketers, we can support the sales team and their approach with an account-based marketing program from an outreach perspective that targets those companies directly. So collaborating with the sales team and understanding where they're, sort of honing in from a strategy perspective can really sort of help you build out an approach for who you're going to target from a marketing standpoint. You can also leverage ABM to grow existing customer business, as those statistics showed us earlier. So maybe you have a list of core accounts that you're trying to gain further penetration in from a cross-sell or upsell approach perspective. Or maybe it's a customer win-back approach in which you're trying to get back in front of a list of customers that have you've lost or no longer doing business with you. ABM works great here too. And then lastly, something that's often overlooked, account-based marketing can be very useful for internal communications programs. You're probably doing less targeted media in this situation, obviously, but certain account-based marketing principles and tactics can be applied for communications within your organization. So say you're going through a rebranding initiative, perhaps. There's typically an internal communications component to that rollout. So you can leverage account-based marketing tactics to announce the new brand and onboard your internal employees and stakeholders into that new strategy and those new communications. So we've talked about the applications of account-based marketing, and there are many others, but those four are really what we're seeing most utilized by our clients and prospects. So let's talk a little bit more about the key characteristics of an account-based marketing strategy. These programs are have four key tenets. They're integrated, highly targeted, high touch, and perhaps most importantly, personalized. So we'll take a deeper dive into each of these components and talk a little bit about how they relate. First and foremost, account-based marketing programs are integrated. There's not a one-shot windfall tactic or approach out there that's going to cover all the bases. So the program has to be multi-channel and touch a variety of different approaches, such as these. Here's a sample marketing mix that you might see as part of an account-based marketing strategy. Certainly content marketing is a critical component, as well as event marketing and other outreach tactics such as email and advertising. Advanced targeting of advertising through programmatic display, social media advertising, and search marketing can really round out the mix and get you in front of some target prospects from an advertising perspective as well. Next, and for pretty obvious reasons, your account-based marketing has to be highly targeted. And this stems, again, beyond just identifying the companies that you're wanting to reach, but understanding who the individuals are within that organization at a persona level and what messaging you need to deliver to reach them. What are their needs, their wants, their goals, their motivations and behaviors? What are their potential barriers for partnering or purchasing from you? Really understanding the persona level and the individuals inside these organizations that you want to target just gives you an extra advanced level of customization to your marketing communications. And then we're also talking about an approach that is high touch, and high touch in a couple of ways. High touch in terms of cadence and the number of touch points, and then high touch in terms of the quality of those touch points. So addressing cadence specifically. Account-based marketing programs typically involve several touch points coming from both the marketing and the sales team. So to prevent those touch points from stepping on one another, strong coordination and collaboration with sales in an account-based marketing program is extremely important. A lot of times you're in a situation where you are actually going after that top 20 list that the sales team has in their pipeline and in their prospecting forecast. So making sure that you're coordinating your efforts with theirs is really, really important. And when you do that, it ensures that you're architecting a very cohesive communication strategy that's fully aligned, strategic, and achieves that maximum impact and that maximum return on investment. And even beyond the cadence of the communications, the quality of the materials that you're sending tends to be higher. When you're targeting sort of a smaller group of individuals, you can invest a little bit more in terms of the production value, the quality, the deliverability of the communications that you're sending, and certainly the level of customization. And then finally, ABM programs have a strong element of personalization. So we should be treating these targeted companies a little special. Again, that high touch, that high quality, but provide them with customized and personalized messaging against those high quality materials that are really personalized to them. Chances are you've built a decent database on these companies, especially if it's an existing customer list or a customer win-back list or a top 20 list from your sales team. You probably have a good deal of information about these companies in your database already. So this is a great opportunity to leverage that data to tailor your messaging and creative to that specific organization. Leverage what you know about them to custom tailor your creative, your content, your messaging, the formats and the channels to their needs and how your products and services can specifically address what matters most to them. And this is likely going to be different for the companies that you're targeting, but don't shy away from that. If you're out there creating very specific versions of content for every single company that you're targeting, that's not unheard of. That's something that you should try to attempt to do. Get that really strong level of personalization so you're taking on more of a one-to-one marketing approach. This account-based marketing is a really great opportunity to get to that super hyper-targeted and personalized level. And again, just deliver the customized message that's right for that particular organization. So we've talked a little bit about what account-based marketing is, what the applications are, as well as the key characteristics of what go into an account-based marketing program. So I want to spend the rest of our time together talking specifics as it relates to the benefits this type of marketing approach provides, and then dive into some thought starters on a tactical level. So if you're thinking about implementing an account-based marketing program, or you want to integrate some new ideas into an existing program, maybe we can spark some creative thinking for you. At EMA, we have a philosophy that we call brand as friend. And everything that we do in terms of executing marketing communication strategies and tactics for our clients embodies the principles of brand as friend, and ultimately how we can build affection, relevance, and trust between our clients, brands, and customers, that we achieve a greater level of relationship between those two entities in which our clients are developing a friendship with their customers. Account-based marketing is really a perfect method for delivering against that brand as friend promise of affection, relevance, and trust. So those key principles between the brand and the customer are critically important in terms of a brand as friend strategy. And in the context of account-based marketing, that can manifest itself in a variety of ways. So look to build your strategy around the tenets of affection, relevance, and trust, and you'll be successful. We'll take a deep dive into each. Let's start with affection and some of the tactics that you could employ that help to build affection with your customers and prospects. With affection, your goal here should be all about building brand affinity. So what are the best ways to connect with prospects on that level and drive that affinity? Consider something like a thought leadership strategy in which you're creating, again, highly personalized content that addresses each company's unique pain points, potentially teaches them something new, provides them with some strong utility, and positions your organization as an expert on their specific business. And this doesn't have to be about reinventing the wheel and creating tons and tons of new content. Think about auditing your existing content library, taking some of your top performing assets, and then create versions of those assets for the companies that you're targeting through account-based marketing. So if you have an ebook that's been very successful on a vertical or horizontal marketing level, take that and find ways to customize it to the organizations that you're targeting through account-based marketing. What are the specifics that you know about them, their industry, their particular products or services, their strategic business initiatives, their leadership, even their competitors? What are sort of the nuances that you know about that particular organization that you can use to leverage for that customization of your content? Another tactic, company-specific micro-events are another great way to drive affection. You can host executive dinners or team luncheons, create on-site seminars on their campus, maybe host networking events in their cities or regions, bring in a guest speaker that you know is someone that their leadership potentially follows from a thought leadership perspective, or a customer or a prospect that you know that you have a relationship with, that they would want to hear from. Again, just tailor the content and the topics of what you're going to cover in those events to the items and the topics and the themes that will resonate most with the companies that you're engaging with, and you'll start to foster a really strong relationship. And people are sometimes surprised to hear me recommend direct mail because my title actually has the word digital in it. But I'm a big fan of good old-fashioned postal mail, especially in an account-based marketing program, because it can be extremely effective in getting an introduction with those high-potential prospects. So if these are folks that you're interacting with from a sales and marketing perspective for the first time, great, strong direct mail from the standpoint of an introduction and a tactic to get a meeting can be really, really highly effective. And typically in an account-based marketing program, you have a smaller list of companies that you're targeting, so you can get a little bit more creative with your execution and your budget around your direct mail program. You can make it dimensional. You can add a promo item or a giveaway. You would look to send it through an overnight shipping provider, so you know that it's going to get in front of them. It's going to break through the clutter. It's not going to end up just stuck in the mailroom or stuck on somebody's desk in a mail bin. Again, give it a personal touch and drive that affection to give them that really strong positive impression of your company right from the start. Now we'll move on to relevance. The opportunities to deliver against relevance in an account-based marketing strategy are really huge. I mean, ABM really kind of screams relevance, right? So it all but embodies that old marketing adage of delivering the right message to the right audience at the right time. You've identified the right companies for your business. You've identified, potentially where they're at in the sales cycle or what you have to say to them in terms of messaging and content. And then exactly, from a timing perspective, potentially when you should be articulating your marketing outreach versus your sales outreach through that strong collaboration that you're having with your sales team. So what are some of the tactics out there that can be used not only to reach employees and stakeholders at these targeted companies, but continue to drive that conversation that moves them through the buying process through strong relevance? First, we'll start with identifying the right audience. Sometimes you're in a position where you may have a list of targeted accounts, but you have no leads or contacts in your database in those organizations, and you have to go out and actually find those people. Well, we're really fortunate to be working in a time when audience targeting online is incredibly advanced. For example, IP targeting can be leveraged for display advertising and personalized retargeting. Social media advertising through Facebook custom audiences or Twitter tailored audiences. LinkedIn is also a great channel with their company and email targeting. And even Google AdWords has customer match advertising, among other tactics. So you can think about, from an advertising perspective, really being able to actually target individuals inside of companies through IP match, something for everyone to consider. Real-time personalization is another consideration. So once you've identified your digital targeting strategy through some of the paid tactics that we just talked about, you can drive them to a landing page or a website experience that houses custom content that's delivered to them dynamically through IP match. So when that individual hits your landing page, the IP of the company he or she is visiting from is identified, and then you can tailor the content on the page to them. So you've taken those steps to customize your best content for that particular organization. This is your opportunity to serve it to them right from the start without them ever having to fill out a form or identify that they're actually from that company. And that level of personalization on the landing page can range from, overtly identifying their name or company in the page content, or you can take a more subtle approach and just serve up the white papers, ebooks, case studies, imagery, content that you know is going to be most relevant to them based on the fact that they work for the company that you're targeting. And if you have a marketing automation platform, you can then gate some of those personalized assets, collect even more information from them, opt them in to receive further communications from you, and then build out an ongoing email-based lead nurturing program to keep the conversation and the relationship building going. And now we'll talk about trust. We touched upon email marketing and nurturing programs, but we'll expand on that a little bit more. So if relevancy is your opportunity to connect with these prospects at the right time with the right message and the right content, building trust in an account-based marketing strategy is all about demonstrating that you've done your homework, you understand these organizations really, really well, and that you have the product, services, and expertise to really make an impact on their businesses. That's how you build trust. And you can deliver on building trust in your account-based marketing strategy through such tactics as email marketing, lead nurturing, and content development. So engage in a steady drumbeat of content delivery that demonstrates that you are a thought leader and expert, that you understand their unique business situation, their unique challenges, and that you have the right product, service, or solution that's going to deliver effective results for them. And let's not forget our collaboration with the sales team, right? So they're on the front lines. And at this stage of the process, they have to have an active role in that trust building. So when the prospect decides to pull the trigger and buy, they feel 100% confident in their decision to choose you. You've established a strong level of trust, you've established a deeper level of relationship with them, and they're not hesitating in terms of purchasing from you. So how do we make this all happen? What's the process for getting there? I think every organization has its own unique spin on execution, but I like to boil it down to these 5 fairly easy steps. First, you need to identify the target company accounts that you're going after. Look for those high opportunity, high yield organizations that profile that particular, ideal customer, and then build out your list. Maybe develop some lookalike organizations from the best customers that you have. Identify those that are an ideal fit for your business, your products, your services. Maybe even a competitor's customers in a conquesting approach. It's another great application for ABM. If you have, a list of competitors out there that are doing business with organizations that you want to do business with, and you're looking to sort of steal back some of that market share, an account-based marketing strategy against a competitor's conquest in a competitor's conquest setting can also be really effective. And once you've identified your target account list, you move on to step 2, which is building out your account-based marketing strategy and your marketing mix. Choose the tactics that build affection, relevance, and trust, and that are integrated, high-touch, and multi-channel. Then you build out your content library and your sales and marketing materials. So again, you're achieving that greater level of personalization. Your assets are personalized to that specific account, and they're based on all the information and the specifics that you know about them or that you want them to know about you. Then launch your campaigns, measure the effectiveness, optimize, be nimble, and course correct in market to build on your success from there. Account-based marketing is a great piloting strategy. You can, very easily, sort of start small and grow. You can identify maybe a list of 10 companies that you want to go after. Do some experimentation, do some testing and learning, build out a program, test it to a few of those companies, and then roll it out even bigger. Expand to your top 20, your top 30, your top 40, and then just continue to optimize your program over time. I want to close out today's presentation with a couple of key takeaways that I hope you leave today with, and that is that account-based marketing is integrated, highly targeted, high touch, and personalized, and that you can really instill some of the key tenets of brand as friend and leverage account-based marketing to build affection, relevance, and trust with your high potential prospects and your customers. So with that, I think we can open things up for Q&A.
Great. Let's get to questions. We have a couple in the queue, Erin. If anyone in the audience has questions, please add them to the portal. And the first question is this: how are some of these targeting strategies implemented, specifically IP targeting or other media-specific tactics?
That's a good question. I think, in terms of effectiveness and application and getting that stuff going, if it starts with your media strategy. So if you want to integrate, some ABM specific tactics into your overarching media strategy, talk to your agency, talk to your internal team, whoever's planning and buying your media, and talk to them about the outreach tactics that you want to leverage from the perspective of ABM. There are a lot of great programmatic display networks out there that have IP targeting. Again, that paid social from the standpoint of Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, they all have an ABM specific offering, and Google as well. Google has customer match, and that's a great way to identify folks from a search and a JDN perspective, how to get in front of very specific individuals at very specific companies. The only caveat I'll give you is a lot of those organizations have minimums in terms of the number of people that you're trying to reach. So if, for example, I think Facebook is a minimum of 1,000 people. So if there aren't 1,000 people working at the organizations that you're targeting, you might not be able to leverage that tactic. But think about that from the perspective of your overarching media plan and see if you can integrate some of the ABM tactics into that approach.
Our second question, Erin: how are organizations identifying the accounts that they want to target?
That's a good question. We talked a little bit about that in our presentation, but we can expand upon it more. There are a couple of ways that we can go about it. One is collaborate with your sales team. So talk to them about who their golden gooses are in terms of the organizations that are on their radar, that they haven't been able to penetrate, that they really want to get in front of. They're high opportunity, high yield. Collaborate with them and build a list. If you don't have that as a potential channel, think about some of the things that we talked about earlier relational to data mining. So profile what the ideal customer, company, or organization looks like. What is their size? Where are they located? What types of products and services do they offer? What industry are they in? Target out some of those ideal sort of data profile points. Build out a company list that meets those criteria. And then you can start to sort of hone in on a broader list from that perspective. And then you can also think about things like, customer win-back approaches or upsell, cross-sell strategies with your existing customers. Just find the opportunities that you think best fit your marketing strategy and your overall business goals for the year.
Great, thank you. It looks like that is the end of the questions. Thanks for joining us today. We will post this webinar to our website, www.mower.com, and we'll share a link to access the webinar shortly. This ends the webinar. Erin, any final thoughts before we sign off?
No, just want to thank everyone for joining us today. If anyone does have any lingering questions or would like to, talk about their particular challenges, successes, or has any additional questions and would like to engage with me one-on-one, my contact information is on the slide, and you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn or send me an email. Thank you all again.